welcome to the first instalment of the League Scene's lower grade wrap-up, your comprehensive one-stop shop for all things reserve grade in the knock-on effect New South Wales Cup and Host Plus Cup. Every week you'll see the stars of tomorrow and some of the NRL's biggest names play in the second-tier competition. This week, though, we're without the services of the Queensland Host Plus Cup, as the first round was postponed due to the more pressing matter of Tropical Cyclone Alfred. Not to worry though, we've got all the action from the opening week of the knock-on effect New South Wales Cup, which kicked off at Parker Street Reserve as the Newtown Jets look to defend their title against one of the competition heavyweights, the Penrith Panthers. Let's see how all the action transpired. Defending premiers, they came into this year with much to prove, but unfortunately the start to the season was a nightmare. Young fullback Liam Ison went down in this non-contact incident, taken from the field with a suspected ACL injury. Despite the setback and half Caleb Brajab off for a HIA, Newtown quickly went left, and Niwaipuru catched in for the first try of Newtown's season. With some of their more notable New South Wales Cup stars left on ice after the trip to Las Vegas, Brad Schneider went to the air and found new recruit Tom Jenkins. 10 minutes before the break, discarded Panthers half Riley Pollard adapted to his new position at hooker and found Brad Fernley, who crashed over under the posts. Panthers started the better of the two teams in the half, and Tom Jenkins quickly found his second try, getting through some disappointing Newtown left edge defence. Then we had the game's fever pitch moment. As the Panthers looked to spread the ball, Jesse McLean found open space as the Panthers looked to go for their third try and their second in as many minutes. Fortunately for the Jets, the cover tackle for Maureen Harodi was deemed good enough, despite a contentious calling. Newtown took full advantage of this opportunity, and with makeshift fullback Maureen Harodi creating the numbers, Christian Dixon added to his try-scoring form of last year. Newtown were in minutes later when Riley Pollard set up his second try with this magic offload to Rajab as Niwaipuru raced away for his second try right under the posts. Pollard sealed the game just after the hour mark with some brilliant deception before finding Billy Burns to seal it. That was enough for the Jets, who raced away 26-12 victors. A comprehensive win for Newtown in the final analysis, 26 points to 12 out at Parker Street. Let's take a look at some of the best performers on both sides now in our Stats Deep Dive. Now moving to our Stats Deep Dive, we're highlighting 3 players from each team that made a substantial difference to this week in New South Wales Cup. Starting with the Panthers, and it was Tom Jenkins in his return to the Panthers after his season with the Knights. He was great. 2 tries, 7 tackle breaks, 2 line breaks, and a line break assist, causing all sorts of chaos in the Newtown defence. Brad Schneider's not going to go down without a fight in this freeway battle for the Panthers NRL 5'8 spot. He set up both tries, made 23 tackles, and was always advancing the ball to the line. And fresh after his trip to Vegas, Lurin Patea was big, having 7 carries for 98 metres, a line break, 4 tackle breaks, and an impressive 30 tackles. But we know that everyone's here to look at Blaze Tulagi, and Blaze was okay without being spectacular. He's young, he'll make mistakes, and that was on display with 4 errors for the Panthers 5'8 in this one, but he did take the ball to the line effectively, as well as make 18 tackles for no misses. Meanwhile, for the Newtown Jets, Brad Fernley, the former Panther. In fact, all 3 here are former Panthers. But for Brad, a try, 157 metres, 64 post-contact metres, 5 tackle breaks and 31 tackles with no misses. Riley Pollard was big in his New South Wales Cup debut. He had a hand in 3 Jets tries, a distinct versatility that could come in handy, and was very deceptive in the ball in hand should the Jets decide to go with a 1-2 combo with Jaden Beryl like they did so effectively with Sam Healy last year. And then Niwaipuru had a great kicking game in difficult conditions. Some good support play that saw him pick up a double, and defensively one of his better efforts. Of course, it's one area of his game that we've been a little concerned with in the past, but a big bounce back game for Niwai in this one. Out at Leichhardt Oval, where Canberra hosted the Warriors. Both sides
Line
last
and
last
lane.
year
Go.
were keen to prove a point early. The Raiders struck first with a nice backline play. Look at the tip-on from Dwight.
Keep going.
Asamoah crossing after 9 minutes to give Canberra a 4-0 lead. Canberra were the dominant of the two teams early and soon had a second try as Trey Mooney crossed over. Despite the question mark of obstruction, the try was awarded. In a low-scoring game, this conversion from Adam Cook was the last scoring play of the first half, as it was a 10-0 lead at half-time. Warriors opened scoring in the second half, as some nice link work allowed Tanner Boyd to get boot to ball, and Mawala Graham-Taufa crossed for the first of his 2 tries. The Warriors' 1-2 hooker punch of Healy and Lussick proved vital, as Tamare Martin set Geronimo Doyle up out wide, shrugging off defenders and getting his way to the line. Despite the Raiders' lack of energy in the second half, they managed to put together their lone try this way, as Adam Cook set up a peach of a pass, and Asamoah got his second try. Canberra led late into the second half. The question marks around Canberra's team remain their lack of speed, something that strikes in stark comparison to the way their NRL squad played in Las Vegas. Warriors needed something magic late on the last tackle, and fortunately, the defence stood off Tamare Martin and allowed Mawala Graham-Taufa, the New South Wales Cup Player of the Year for the Warriors, to get the second and match-winning try. Tanner Boyd knocked over the extra 2 to seal an 18-16 win for the Warriors away from home. At an 18-16 win, the Warriors getting home late over the Raiders. So question marks about the lack of speed in Canberra's side, especially out wide. Meanwhile, for the Warriors, a team that was stacked full of NRL players saw Rocco Berry make his return after an injury-riddled 2024. In good news, he got through the first 40 unscathed. Let's now see how some of the rest of the players performed in our stats deep dive. It's a deep dive for Canberra, and Michael Asamoah had everything involved. 2 tries, 3 line breaks, 15 carries for 191 metres and diffused a bulk of the kicks for the Raiders. He will be a key player in this New South Wales Cup side this season as he pushes for what appears to be an unlikely NRL debut, but given injuries, anything can happen. Trey Mooney, though, 15 runs for 114 metres, 3 tackle breaks, a big try, 29 tackles. He did have the 4 misses, but there were some strong efforts throughout. Then Joe Roddy, 6 runs, 52 metres, a team high 41 tackles, only missed 1. He's done a good job to potentially keep that starting spot. Of course, Matty Nicholson and others will be pushing through. And a reminder, this Raiders team didn't have Owen Paddy in it, as he enjoyed a week away as he remains in the NRL side. And given Danny Levi's performance, he'll be staying there for a little while longer. Meanwhile, for the Warriors, Jacob Laban, 50 post-contact metres, 9 tackle breaks, 30 made tackles, 2 misses, and if you're looking for something that the Warriors lacked in Vegas, it was an explosive edge-back rower. Jacob Laban could very well be that man, whether he comes off the bench or even pushes for a starting role, pushing the like of a Kirk Capewell or a Marata Nikore to the bench. Tom Ale also impressed with 166 metres, 3 tackle breaks and 67 post-contact metres, as the Warriors forward pack was a key part in their victory over the Raiders. Meanwhile, fullback Geronimo Doyle impressed with 117 metres, a try, a line break and 6 tackle breaks, adding a dynamic element at the back for the Warriors. Rocco Berry managed to get through 40 minutes unscathed in his return to rugby league. As we mentioned, he'll be looking for a full 80-minute performance next week when they take on Manly at Go Media Stadium. Off to a flying start, opening round New South Wales Cup clash against Wests. This kick from Will Price ricocheted into the waiting arms of excitement machine Connor Patano, and the Knights led early 6-0. Even by opening round standards, the attack on show in the first half was a little clunky. When Wests got in the groove, this crossfield kick proved a little too hard to defuse. Fortunately, Wests got the bounce, and Solomon Esokuru got the ball down just in a nick of time to get Wests their first points of the year and to trail just 6-4 at the break. Newcastle put Eddie Ford of a slow start to the season on the back burner when Will Price showed and goad his way through some poor right edge defence. He linked up with interchange forward Aidan Crode, and the Knights were in for a strong showing at the second 40. The Knights were on an attacking showcase. This cross kick from Liam Sutton was put down by Josh Fellerty, and it was straight in the arms of Will Price. After setting up the first try, he finally got on the score sheet in what was a dominant display from the Newcastle pivot. Newcastle were looking the better team in the second half as Jermaine McEwen sliced through the gap. Newcastle were in a rich frame of attacking form as Liam Sutton put through Jermaine McEwen. McEwen linked up with Callan Burgess to be taken metres from the line. But Newcastle weren't finished as Will Price turned Cart back on the inside, and the combination proved lethal as the Knights were on their way under new coach Michael Dobson. Newcastle put the game beyond doubt after this run from hooker come centre Riley Jones for some rather pedantic West defence. Newcastle's last try was the softest of the West defensive efforts. Parramatta signing Jacob Davis went straight through next to the posts. West's last effort of the game came from this burrowing run from New South Wales Cup prop of the year Tim Hansen. The ball was spread nicely as Max Lyles kicked and chased to his own as West scored the last try of the game in an otherwise dour performance on their home turf. So the Knights with a 36-10 victory over last year's Wooded Spooters. Will Price easily the best on ground. We'll take a look at the stats deep dive in just a moment. For West, some concerns around some individual performances. Latufani was a touch underwhelming for Western Suburbs. Meanwhile, for Newcastle, their new rugby signing, Tyrone Thompson was in a dominating style of display all game long. Let's take a look now at the stats deep dive. And for Western Suburbs, their fullback, Falatino Tavana, was impressive at the back. 7 kick defusals, 4 tackle breaks, and offload from 142 metres. Western Suburbs have a youthful team in 2025, and Tavana saw game time to finish last year and has started the year as the primary choice at the back. Timmy Hansen made his first grade debut last year, but he started off the bench. But with performances like this, he'll be in the starting side for a while to come. He had 12 runs, 121 metres, an offload that led to the last try for Max Lyles, 3 tackle breaks, and then 33 tackles to go along with it. Meanwhile, speaking of Max Lyles, here he is. He had a try. Didn't run the ball too efficiently, only having the 5 runs for less than 50 metres, but he did defend well on his edge of the field, especially in a game where West's defence was pushed all the way. Meanwhile, for the Knights, there was no better player potentially this week than Will Price. A line break, 2 line break assists, 3 try assists, and a try of his own to go over 171 metres, and you're going to struggle to find a better half in the New South Wales Cup this round. If Price can keep this form up and the NRL guys continue to make stumbling inroads, despite Newcastle winning in round 1, Price could be earning a first grade record. Tom Cant's another that's going to be pushing hard, having 40 tackles, 181 metres, 4 tackle breaks, a line break and a try, being heavily involved in Newcastle play. Parramatta New South Wales Cup hooker Jacob Davis, he's come over to the club, and he impressed, having 8 dummy half runs for over 100 metres, 2 line breaks and a line break assist. He had 5 tackle breaks, 31 tackles and an offload, as well as the try that put the game beyond doubt.
I'll go. I'm good.
At Cogra Oval, the Bulldogs opened the scoring when Taniela Otokolo burrowed out of dummy half to give the Bulldogs an early advantage. St George Illawarra didn't die wondering when Likian King Toiga delivered a magic pass to Terrell Sloan, who bet the cover defence, and the Dragons got back in the ball game.
Oh, go, Lord! Good.
In the frantic opening moments of the game, Canterbury got back in the contest with 2 quick tries. The first one set up by a beautiful cutout pass from Tay Cochran to flying Jersey flag winger Geordie Mazzoni to give Canterbury their lead back. Canterbury didn't die wondering before the break as they shifted play over to the left-hand side, and pre-season standout Jeffro Renakama went the distance to give Canterbury a strong lead at the break. St George Illawarra were quick to respond to start the second half, and it was the returning man, Cody Ramsey, that did all the damage. This explosive kick return gave the Dragons good field position. Linking up with Tyrell Sloan was the easy part, as the Dragons quickly put on some second half magic. Continuing the theme of returning, Corey Allen, in his first game back after an ACL injury last off-season, powered through some pedantic defence to get Canterbury some nightmarish worries. The defensive problems continued to add up for Mick Potter as Jonah Glover showed and goed and went all the way for a great individual try as it appeared to be the death knell on the Bulldogs' comeback. Whatever Coach Willie Talau said at the break seemed to work a treat. This pass from King Toiga seemed a slightly bit questionable. It didn't matter though. Young teenage feeder Jacob Halangahu went all the way. Canterbury weren't finished and were still looking to make their game competitive when Jeffrey Rinakama added his second try in the corner. But it was Cody Ramsey's day. This high ball was taken out of the air and a great individual try was scored in a maiden return fixture. The Dragons capitalised on Bulldogs' mistakes as they were chasing the game, as Nathan Lawson sprinted away. Brought down just 10 metres from the line, all they had to do was pass it left, and the Minchinbury Junior, Fina Latu, crossed to put the game beyond doubt. Canterbury added consolation as Cassius Tia crossed the line, but the Dragons were runaway winners, 34-26. Good is it to see Cody Ramsey back in full flight. We'll take a look at his stats deep dive in just a moment. Tyrell Sloan was hampered in the pre-season by injury, and he came back with a double. Corey Allen as well, returning from an ACL injury, was strong out at right centre. For Canterbury, Jeffrey Rinakama was strong, picking up 2 tries, while new recruit Taniela Otakolo was always damaging out of the dummy half position. Now let's take a look at the stats deep dive. On the stats deep dive, and there's no surprises that Cody Ramsey's going to feature very prominently. It was a triumphant comeback for the man whose career was nearly threatened by a life-threatening illness, but he had a triumphant return. A try off a kick, he set up another off a brilliant kick return. He had over 180 metres, 2 line breaks, and 5 tackle breaks. What a return, and if this form keeps up, given the NRL contract wheels and turning and everything else, we may see him back in first grade this year. Halfback Jonah Glover. I've seen some Dragons fans a little bit critical on Glover, but I thought he set up a really nice try in this game. He also just led the team around really well, scored a great individual try that gave the Dragons just some ascendancy in the game. He controlled things really nicely and defended well on the edge. And then finally, these young crop of players that the Dragons have brought through under Willie Talau in the SG Ball last year. He's now moved up to Cup coach, and this man has led with it. Jacob Halangahu, a New South Wales Cup debut, a try. He was in the thick of everything on that edge, and he has a bright future in this league. Meanwhile, for Canterbury, young winger Jeffrey Rinakama was one of the stars of the pre-season challenge. He picked up a double, 150 metres and 2 line breaks. He'll be one to watch develop for Canterbury over the coming weeks. Jack Todd, though, is a man that Canterbury supporters are earmarking for an NRL debut this year. He continued from where he left off in 2024. He had 31 tackles, 173 metres, 70 post-contact metres, a line break and an offload. He is one to keep an eye on for Canterbury if they want to move around with their pack. And then finally, a man we gave a lot of praise to last year in Queensland, Taniela Otakolo. He picked up a try from dummy half, 5 tackle breaks. He's a real nuggety sort of dummy half that isn't afraid to run the football. A try assist and 23 tackles as well, coming down from the Western Clydesdales. Manly returned to the New South Wales Cup under their own banner, but Bailey Bente Harpe had different ideas, scoring this sensational individual try in the opening moments of play. Despite the early setback, Manly were keen on getting back, And they did just that as Jake Arthur delivered a peach of a pass to Max Haley. Souths decided to chance their arm as Astrid Ward quickly spread the ball, and South Sydney were on their way as Bente Harpe decided to take it up the middle. Jake Arthur quickly set Clayton Falalo up, and the 2023 leading try scorer continued to add to his bag of tries. If you want to look for great players that just can't crack the NRL, it's hard to pass this man. Caleb Navale with a 30-metre individual try to give Manly a dominant start to the second half. South Sydney still stayed in the fight as they went to their left-hand side and sent Max Lehman away. Lehman found Carson Cajo and South Sydney stayed in the fight. New Manly signing Chris Patolo said see you later to three of them as he charged to the line and Manly looked to be home and hosed. But South Sydney saved their best trick in bags. Bay Williams, the 18th man, charging across to give Souths a famous 22-20 verdict. Goal kicking proving to be the difference at Four Pines Park as South Sydney recorded a 22-20 verdict over Manly, ruining their return to the New South Wales Cup. Bailey Bente Harpe, the star with 2 tries, while Bear Williams proved the unlikely match winner from the 18th man position. But for Manly, plenty of positives to take away, including the performance of Fiji and Caleb Navale. Let's now take a look now at our stats deep dive. Stats deep dive, and we're starting with Manly and this young Fijian international Caleb Navale. 3 tackle breaks, a line break, 11 runs, 146 metres, but the best part for me, 42 tackles, only the 1 miss, and that's coming off the pine too. In our opinion, he's the best forward, not playing regular NRL, and I think if Anthony Seibold and anyone in this Manly side slips, Navale will come in and he will make a difference. Moving on next to Jacob Sykes, he had 9 carries to 72 metres, an offload, 42 tackles, no missed. Did have 1 ineffective tackle though, that's just not on the stat sheet. He has learned from some of those forwards that were in the All-Stars camp. He was one of the more impressive players during that All-Stars game, and it's very good to see him take it back and be a real consistent player. Then we got Clay Falala. We know what this guy can do. 6 tackle breaks, 2 line breaks, 185 metres from 16 runs. So dangerous with the ball in hand. Very similar to what we're saying about Navale before. You can easily say this guy is one of the best outside backs not playing regular first grade. And you look at that Manly outside back core, it's going to be a hard knock for him to get in, but let's now see what South did. Looking at South Sydney now, and we're starting with fullback Bailey Bente Harpe. He had 25 carries to 272 metres, a line break assist, 7 tackle breaks. You saw from that first try, distinct game awareness. That grubber kick in behind, that was something of legends, that one. Then you got Tom Fletcher. Yeah, he was quiet with the ball. You think 8 runs, 40 metres is not the best. But then you look at the 2 offloads. You had the line break assist, a team high 49 tackles. It'll be one that we want to see develop throughout the season. He's been very interrupted by injury, so we're very keen to see how Fletcher develops. Next up though, Matt French, 17 runs for 139 metres, 51 post contact, 2 offloads, 23 tackles. Had some errors in him, yes, but ultimately his effort triumphed on the field. Looking to start with a bang against the Roosters and nearly had a try in the first 5 minutes with Jake Toby knocking on. North Sydney eventually didn't let that get to them and got the first try after 20 minutes as Matt Kolamafe punished Ethan King for letting this one go through to the keeper. Despite the Roosters winning the game, there may be some judiciary concerns, with Ashton Warwick picking up a charge for this tackle on Bears winger Compton Fuamanu. Despite that, the Bears led 4-0 at the break. Roosters eventually got a bit adventurous on the last tackle, and Ethan King and Ben Johnston combined to send Tom Rodwell away before linking up with Hugo Savala, and the Roosters were back level midway through the second half. The Roosters soon doubled their advantage after North Sydney put the next kickoff out on the full, and again they went to their left-hand edge as King combined lovely with Rodwell to go over in the corner. Savala added an important penalty goal to give the Roosters a 2-possession lead, and that kick proved decisive in the final wash-up. It was fitting that two of North's best performers, Nathaniel Roach and Ben Tolte, combined to give the Bears hope in the final 10, but it wasn't enough as the Roosters hung on for a 2-point win in the opening round of the season. Roosters picking up a big round 1 victory at home over the North Sydney Bears at Wenty Park. Those 2 tries in the space of 5 minutes proving critical, and that late penalty goal from Hugo Savala proving even more important. For the Bears, they had chances but lost halfback Harrison Wilson midway through the first half with a HAA. Other than that, there's a lot to go back on, and they didn't have many Melbourne Storm players either. Only Joe Chan played, and he was a little bit underwhelming throughout the game. Let's check out the stats deep dive. Some of the stars for the Roosters: Ethan King, 30 runs, 227 metres, a line break, a try assist, 4 tackle breaks, and 2 offloads. Now, King, as part of all those contract reshuffles, has earned himself a development deal, so he can be plucked and played if required in the Roosters backline, particularly if something strikes around James Tedesco. So that is something for Roosters fans to keep an eye on. Max McCaffey, he was only the Jersey Flag Player of the Year 2 years ago. Injuries derailed him last year, but we did get a good look at him to finish the year. He was very involved in this one. 2 tackle breaks, 32 tackles, and just a tad under 100 metres. He played exclusively on the edge, kept his opposite number intact, and had a really strong performance. And then finally, Hugo Savala, a try, combined nicely with Jake Elliott. Had an offload as well, was targeting into defence, but he did handle it well. And you've got to think now with the way Chad Townsend started, Sandon Smith as well, to some respect, he and Jake Elliott are in constant NRL auditions. If they string some nice wins together and the NRL guys keep faltering, then Savala and Elliott will be right up there. Meanwhile, for the Bears, Ben Tolte, a try, 176 metres off 18 runs, 58 post contact. He also had a line break, 4 tackle breaks, 100% tackle efficiency. He just spent a summer with the Melbourne Storm pack, and you have to think that it started to show off big time the way he played in this one. Also, Nathaniel Roach, you got the try assist to Tolte to make it close. A game-high 48 tackles, didn't miss one either. He's a handy backup and has showed that he's worthy of an NRL roster spot somewhere. I'm looking at you, North Queensland. He nearly set up another try to Toby early in the first stanza as well. Speaking of Toby, he's the last man we're going to touch on. 213 metres, 7 tackle breaks, 2 offloads. You just know when North Sydney are playing that things happen around this guy. Yes, he had the bombed try we saw in the opening of that highlight package, but good things happen around Jake Toby when he's on the ball, and hopefully North Sydney get that hint against Canterbury next weekend. At this week's Team of the Week, Bailey Bentley Harpay at South Sydney was our fullback, Michael Asamoah and Tom Rodwell on the wings, Tom Jenkins and Riley Jones in the centres, Niwai Punu at 5'8", Will Price, our Player of the Week, in at halfback. The forwards, Ben Tolte and Brad Fernley up front, Nathaniel Roach the hooker, it's the Jacobs in the back row, Jacob Halangahu from the St George Illawarra Dragons, the young New South Wales under-19s rep, along with Jacob Laban, who will be pushing for first-grade spots. Tom Cart is the lock, the bencher, Cody Ramsey, Riley Pollard, Makahisi Makatoa, and Caleb Navale. Now let's take a look in depth at Will Price. And in a week where there were multiple standouts, Will Price just stood up above the pack. He was everywhere with the ball for the Newcastle Knights. Everything he touched just seemed to turn to gold, and he gets the first of our Player of the Rounds in our lower grade wrap-up. So that wraps up our first edition of the lower grade wrap. Thank you very much for your company. Until next time, take care. Bye-bye.